Howdy y'all, welcome back to Camp Shack Productions. Today I want to talk a little bit about something that I've noticed while I have been out trying to film videos for this channel actually. There are a lot of times where I don't want to have to camp, I don't want to have to spend the night. I live right here in Salt Lake. The mountains are only about 15 minutes away from my house to get to the mouth of most of the major canyons here in Utah. But there is no place where I can find a dirt road to pull off and go and camp anymore or film a video without having to pay some sort of fee to a resort, the state, the federal government. And you know, there is a lot of free places to camp and do those things, but I have to drive like 2 hours, 200 plus miles, which costs a lot of money in gas anymore. So before I go any further, in full disclosure, this is my third take that I've had to try to film, so I'm 3 glasses into this bad boy. But I'm gonna have another one because it's really something that bothers me. And I talk a lot more once I have a little, might as well top off the day. It'll help the editing process that I have to do right after this. Whoa, boy. Kids, make sure you're 21 before you drink. Everybody else, cheers. All right, so let's talk a little bit about that. And I'm just gonna give you a couple quick numbers here. So if you want to park at Snowbird during the Oktoberfest, it is anywhere from $12 to $30 to park in one of the lots. If you want to go up to Alta and use the Summer Road, which is a Forest Service road, by the way, they charge you an amenity fee, and that amenity fee is $12. If you want to use Mill Creek Canyon, which is a beautiful canyon, it's a place where you can actually take dogs here in Utah that's not a watershed, it's $5 a day. If you want to go up Mirror Lake Highway, or you want to go to Treble Fork Reservoir or one of those locations, it's $10 for a 1 to 3 day pass that you have to pay to the Forest Service. And you know, it's things like Wasatch State Park. Wasatch State Park is 21,592 acres. So it basically encompasses the back of the Wasatch Mountains from one side all the way to the other. It is a huge state park, and I believe it's $25 a day to park in any one of their parking lots, or you can buy a Utah State Parks Pass, which is a completely different deal and very complicated. Stick around to the end and I will give you a tip on at least being able to get a National Parks Pass. But that's besides the point. And I know that there are already people in the comments keyboarding
angrily right now. There are tons of free hikes up Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon that you can use.
And you are correct. There are a billion hikes that you can do. The problem is, to get to those hikes, you have to drive because they don't run bus services in the summertime, and they don't stop at all the places where you could actually get off and hike. You have to park at one of those locations. And at most of those little trailhead pull-offs on the side of the canyon road, there is maybe anywhere from 5 to 9 spots. And once those are full, you cannot park on the side of the canyon anymore because you will get ticketed or towed. So if you're not there by 6:30 in the morning, those 9 spots are gone, you're not doing Mill D. It's just one of those things. And it's like that all over the place in the Wasatch right now. And I find it exceptionally frustrating. You know, we pay taxes to the federal government, we pay taxes to our local cities, to our county, which all of these are in Salt Lake County, and none of that money is ever used to actually make improvements in these situations. What's allowed to happen is corporations like Alta, which is also a town, but the resort side of Alta, which only owns the lift poles, not the actual mountain, by the way, charges you to use a road that the Forest Service gives them so that they can service all of their lifts. So that, you know, it's just that little squeeze. Snowbird, a place that charges you a buttload of money, all of these resorts do in the wintertime so that you can make sure that you actually have a parking space. Oh, see, gets me fired up. Can cost you anywhere from $30 to $50 a day, not to mention your lift ticket. So it just seems to me like this has become something that is unobtainable to most people. You have to be rich, and I'm not talking about having the overlanding truck or all the lightest backpacking gear, which would make being able to stop at one of these places, jaunt out and go for a nice little backpack super easy if you can afford the hundreds and hundreds of dollars for exceptionally light backpacking gear. I'm just talking about actual access. For that dude that wants to throw a peanut butter sandwich in his backpack, go wander around and maybe play with his mind a little bit in the middle of the mountains, if you know what I mean. Those days seem to be gone, unless you want to pay, or you have a parking pass, or you have signed up for the Ultra Mountaineer Club, so you get blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just gotten ridiculous. And definitely the days of old of throwing like a blanket or an old sleeping bag and a foam cooler in the back of your truck and driving up a dirt road in the middle of the mountains and finding a pre-existing campsite and spending the night and having a few beers with your buddies around a fire, those days are totally gone. Unless you want to drive much further away. And I get it. There's a lot of people that live in the city center. That's where the majority of the population of Utah is in a very small area. But do a better job of managing it. Find ways to make it accessible for people. We already pay the federal government for these national forests. We pay for our BLM usage. We pay for all of the city parks and everything that goes into this. The state parks are taken out of our taxes, and I can't even go park and just go for a hike without spending 25 bucks. It starts to drive you crazy after a little while, you know what I mean? I'm sorry that Grandpa went off on a soapbox, but this is just something I believe strongly in. And if you agree with me, please leave a comment. If you disagree with me, leave a comment. I think that's where we actually start to make some progress, is by creating kind of a healthy dialogue and everybody sharing their opinion, because we don't want to ruin these places, but we do want to have access to them. I just think it has become something where if you have to make a choice between getting food or going and actually being out in nature, you're going to choose to get food. Why can't you do both? Why can't you pay for your food for your kids and still take them into the mountains without having to spend a ton of money? All right, real quick. National Parks passes. This is my access pass. I actually suffer from what's called dysgraphia. I have a learning disability. My brain is completely differently wired than yours when it comes to spelling and retention and reading and things like that. So I actually did a little work and figured out that if you have any kind of learning disability, and it needs to be documented, you need to have paperwork from a psychologist, a diagnosis. But if you take those in, you are also available for the Access Pass, just like anybody that's got a disability. If you've served in any kind of military service, if you are a first responder, check and make sure, because these things, you can hang this in your car and use it all year long at any of those national forest locations that I mentioned where you have to pay a fee. Not to mention the Access Pass, this is a lifetime pass. The only thing that I would have to do is if I lose this, I would have to take the paperwork that I took to get this pass back in with me and pay a $12 fee. The first one though, they just gave me. So look into it, read the fine print when it comes to this stuff. As far as Utah State Parks passes go, be very wary of when you buy it, especially if you get a physical pass mailed to you, because it ends on January 1st, 2025 and starts a new cycle. Now, if you get the digital pass, that starts from whatever day you purchase it until the day 365 days from there. But it also, I've heard people having problems with the whole like being able to show that it was them that was parked places. They're still getting tickets, stuff like that. So be wary. All right, leave a comment. Leave a happy comment, leave an angry comment, hit the like button, hit the dislike button, share this with all your friends, do whatever you can, but let's actually get some sort of conversation going around this and talk about why we can't just use these without having to pay a ton of money. All right, y'all, I really appreciate you making it this far. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're feeling super generous, subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next video. All right, be well, my friends. Number 3, it's gonna be a fun edit. Hopefully it doesn't get like super funky on you guys, because I've had 3 glasses of gin. No matter what it is, it seems like we have always got something to have to do. Hello, young man. All right, come on. Knock it off. Okay. I need you to back up. Beep, beep.